Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophet Speak. Today we continue our study of the first book of Shmuel, of Samuel, chapter 17. See the third portion of this chapter as we get closer to the famous encounter between David and Goliath, David and Goliath. We left off at the end of the last segment where David was talking to his brothers and a bunch of other soldiers and saying, who is this man, this Arel, this uncircumcised man, this man that has no relationship with God, to come and blaspheme and degrade and debase and make fun of the battle formations of the soldiers who are the worshipers and the faithful of the living God, of the one who is real, the one who is alive. When Shaul heard that David said these words, King Saul asked that he should be brought before him. Maybe this is the one who can stand, represent God, and fight and win against the battle against this Goliath, and prove that God is the stronger one, the God of Israel. Vayomer David el Shaul. And when David was brought to Saul, I'm reading verse 32, David said to Shaul, he said to Saul, Al yipol lev adam alav. A person's heart should not fall within him, meaning why person should not be afraid. Our people should not be afraid. Why? Because Avdecha, your servant, David is swearing his loyalty to the king. He's saying, your servant Yelech, he will go. In other words, I will go. V'nilcham, and he, meaning I, will fight im haplishti hazeh, with this Philistine. David says, no one needs to be afraid. Don't be scared. David is saying one who has God behind him, one who has God with him, will go with confidence, will go knowing that as we all go in front of all of the challenges of our lives, not because we know we will win, but we know that we will do everything in our power, everything we can, to use whatever advantages we have, whether it's our brains, whether it's our skills, and whether it's some other factors that we can use to do, because it has to be done. We encounter challenges in our lives. We need to buckle down. We need to think, what can we do? What should we do? How can we encounter the situation and win, knowing that God is with us no matter what the outcome? When we put in the effort, God is with us, even if we should lose. So don't be afraid. Vayomer Shaul el David, and Saul said to David, Lo tuchal olechet el haplishti hazeh. You can't go and fight against this Philistine, hilachem imo, to battle with him. Hinarata, you're just a boy. He's been a fighter. He's been a warrior since his youth, since his childhood. He's an experienced fighter and what are you? You're just a boy. And it doesn't say this, but what do you know? You just shepherd sheep. Vayomer David el Shaul. So David answers Saul, he answers the king, I'm not so inexperienced like you think. You think I'm just a shepherd? Yeah. Your servant, he was a shepherd for his father among the sheep. And don't think being a shepherd doesn't give me experiences. We were attacked, my sheep were attacked by lions and bears to come and predate upon my sheep. They came and they carried off a sheep from my flock, and it was my job to protect my sheep. I knew I had to do something, and I didn't run away afraid. I chased down the lion or the bear. I struck it, and I saved my sheep from the mouth of the lion and the bear. And then the lion came after me. And what did I do? I grabbed its beard. I grabbed the lion in a place of its own weakness. And I struck it down and I killed it. So I knew how to stand up and be brave when it needed to happen. I knew what I needed to do, and I did it. And I can do the same here. Gam Esari, the lion, Gam Hadov, and also the bear, Hiko Abdecha. I struck them both down. This uncircumcised Philistine, he will be Ke'achad Mehem, just like them. Why? Why do I know that I will be able to battle against him just like I battled against the lion and the bear? Because he has dared to um, to um, speak in a degrading way against the ranks of the living God. I know that God is with me, and I will stand up to this Goliath. I will stand up to him. And now there's a pause here. In the traditional text, there's a pause written in here in the Masoretic text, and the way the Jewish text is broken down in chapters. David spoke, and then there was silence. And then David spoke again, because it gives you the impression and the feeling that as he speaks to Saul, Saul wasn't quite yet convinced. Okay, all right, so you knew how to fight off an animal, but how could you fight off this big warrior? So David said again, not only did he blaspheme against the living God, those that represent him, Vayomer David, and then David said, Adonai, God, Asher Hitzilani, who had saved me miyad ha'ari miyad adov. It wasn't just me and my smarts. The strength that I got that strength from God. He's the one that saved me from the lion and the bear. Hu yatzileni miyad ha'plishti hazeh. He will save me from this Philistine. This is what Saul was looking for, knowing that this battle with Goliath was a battle of more than just a fight, a physical fight between two people. This was a fight about ideas. And in Saul's mind, that idea was someone who had that connection to God, who can prove that God is truly the strongest. But that was a lower level. That wasn't enough. David understood more than that, and David is about to show us what he understood. It's not that he has some kind of special connection or channel to God, which is what Saul is thinking, and therefore Vayomer Shaol el David. So that's why Saul said to David, Lech go v'Adonai yeh imach, and God will be with you. Shaul sees, oh, maybe this is this David, this kid. He knows, he has that connection to God. He can be the one that can bring the strength of God. And that was true, but not in the way that Saul understood it. Because then what did Saul do? Verse 38, Vayalbei Shaul et David madav. Saul said, well, let me increase his chances as much as possible. He gave Shaul his own armor. V'natan kova nechochet al rosho, and he gave him a bronze helmet. And he gave him a chest of mail, of honor, of armor. David et charbo me'al lemadav, and then David belted his sword over his garment. Vayoel olechas, and he tried and he attempted to walk with all of this armor and the helmets and the sword. Kilo nisa, but he wasn't experienced at this. He wasn't used to going in with all of this armor. And this to David was a lesson that this is not my strength. If I am going to fight, I need to fight with the kind of fight that I am used to fighting, the kind of fighting that I know. Vayomer David el Shaul, this helped David realize how he has to approach Goliath. Vayomer David el Shaul, so David said to Saul, Lo uchal olechet bo'ela. I can't go, I can't walk in all of this. Kiloni sisi, I'm not experienced at this. Vayisirem David me'elav, and David took off all of the armor, took off the helmet, took off this big sword, and instead, vayikach maklo biyado, he took his stick in his hand. Vayivchar lo chamisha chalukei avonim. He took 5 smooth, round stones that can be flung at very high velocity with high accuracy. Menanachal, from the wadi. Remember, in the valley between the mountains would have been where the riverbed runs. And in there, you're going to have smooth stones because year after year it fills with water. Water flows through there. The rocks at the bottom of the stream are going to be nice and smooth. And he put them into his shepherd's pouch, his shepherd's bag that he had slung over his shoulder, presumably. Uvayalkut, uvikalo b'yado, and he within his bag, and his kalo, his sling, was in his hand, the device that he used to sling the rocks with. Now, this Vayigasha la plishti, and then he walked up to the Philistine and approached him. Now, these slingshots we know archaeological, historical, and a lot of literature from the time. These were extremely potent and extremely powerful weapons in the hands of someone that knows how to use them. It's not a slingshot like we think of as a little rubber band between two sticks. The slingshot, you would swing it around their head until it gained momentum and released it at just exactly the right time, so that the rock, the projectile, would fly at extremely rapid speeds. And if someone was experienced, they can do it with incredible accuracy. So David is taking a weapon that is perfect for taking down a big, tall, strong guy, full of armor, full of heavy weight, who can't move, who can't run. David has all the advantage. Vayelech haplishti, the Philistine went, holech b'korev el David. He started coming down towards David. Remember, the Philistine is standing in the high place, coming down towards David. V'yoish nosei hatzino lefonav, and this man with a shield is going in front of him. Vayabeit haplishti, and the Philistine looked, vayireh et David, and he sees this kid. David is being portrayed as a youth, as a kid, vayivzeo, and he started making fun of him. Ki hayanar, he's a boy, v'admoni, and he's ruddy, meaning he's a healthy-looking young boy, mifei mara, who's like a pretty boy, this wimp, this pretty boy is coming after me. Vayomer haplishti el David, and the image that you have in mind is this giant man who's hardened from years of being a warrior, probably, bruises and scars all over his face and missing a few teeth from battles and so on. And he's making fun of this good-looking young man who's running up the hill towards him. Vayomer haplishti el David, and the Philistine said to David, Akelev anochi, you think I'm just a dog? Katavoy lai b'maklot, you're coming with sticks like to whack me and hit me away. Vayikalel haplishti et David belohav. And here's the key thing. The Philistines started cursing David by using the names of his gods with a small g. He starts saying, I'll show you. You think your God is so strong and powerful. He's nothing in front of my God. Remember, the Philistine, and I've been emphasizing this, was making this into a match between the Philistine gods and the Israelite gods. And he was trying to show, by making this challenge, that the God of the Israelites is not stronger than his gods. And the Israelites are just like them, and all they are is just servants to Saul, just like he's servants to his king. Vayomer haplishti el David, and the Philistine said to David, L'cha elai, come up to me. V'yatnat b'sarcha, and I will make you the flesh of your body, l'of hashamayim, will be a carcass for the birds of the sky to eat. U'levemata sadeh, and the scavenging animals of the field will eat it. Vayomer David el haplishti, and David said to the Philistine, Ata bo elai b'cherev u'v'chanitu v'chidon. You're coming against me with a sword, with a spear, with a javelin. V'anochi bo elecha, and I'm coming against you with something so much more powerful. B'shem Adonai Tzvaot, I'm coming with in the name of God, the Lord of hosts. He is the God, Elohei Ma'archot Yisrael. He is the God of the battle formations of Israel, the ranks of Israel, Asher Cherafta, that you have made fun of, that you have debased, that you have defiled, that you have blasphemed against. That's what I'm coming against you with. Now, David could have named, I'm coming against you with a slingshot. But the point here is that this is an argument over whose God is more powerful. And David is about to show what makes his God more powerful, because his God says, I want you to act brave. I want you to act smart. I want you to think. I want you to work. I want you to not give up. I want you to not be afraid. I want you to do what needs to be done to get it done. Hayom hazeh, today, yisagercha Adonai biyadi. God is going to give you over to my hands. V'hikiticha, I will strike you down. V'hasirosi et roshcha me'alecha, I am going to chop your head off from your body. V'natati peger, and I will make you. I will make the carcasses of Machanei Plishtim, of the camp. I will make carcasses out of the camp of the Philistines. Hayom hazeh, today. There will be carcasses l'of hashamayim, for the birds of the sky, l'chayat haaretz. In other words, not just you, but all of the Philistine soldiers will be for food for the animals and the birds. Vayidu kol haaretz, and the entire land, the entire world will know ki yesh Elohim li Yisrael, that Israel has a God. This is crucial here. Ki yesh olim Yisrael. This is not just a battle to see who's stronger, who's smarter, but to show that Israel has something different. Israel has something special. Israel has a God. Vayedu kol hakol hazeh, and everyone gathered here will know. Ki lo b'cherev uv'chanit Yehoshia Adonai. Our God is not the one who saves because he's stronger, because he has bigger swords, because he has bigger spears. Ki l'Adonai ha-milchama, a war belongs to God. V'natan etchem b'yadenu, God will put you in our hands, regardless of the fact that we are not stronger and mightier than you, but because we have God on our side, because we have justice on our side, because God will help us. And how? We will find out when we study the next part of chapter 17, as we read what happens when David encounters Goliath. Thank you so much for studying this together with me. Looking forward to finishing chapter 17 and the entire book of Samuel together.